Здравствуйте, товарищи, and welcome to an important video log where I take some time to detail what's been going on in my life and some pretty major things that have happened, plus some pretty major things that are going to be happening to the channel, and some important things for the future. So without further ado, let's get right into it and talk about the first major thing that's happened, which is I've made the extraordinarily painful decision to leave my job, to quit my job. And it's not a decision that was made easily or lightly, but the fact is I wasn't happy where I was, and I was slowly seeing myself slip into depression, and it was affecting my life in ways that certainly weren't helpful or beneficial. So I decided I had to get out of what I was doing and figure out something else to do. So I left, and as you may or may not have been noticing, there's been a substantial uptick in the amount of uploads on the channel. Part of that is due to the fact that there's games out there that I want to play, really exciting games I want to play, like Fallout and StarCraft, and two, there's a huge time factor there. And the fact that I left my job at around the time Fallout 4 came out, not a coincidence there. But I kind of want to save that more personal stuff for later. Right now, what I want to talk about is things that are happening to the channel. One is obvious increase in uploads. Two, something that's going to be happening immediately and should have happened a hell of a long time ago, is organizing everything into playlists. There's really no excuse as to why my videos aren't organized into playlists. The main thing is that the longer and longer time went, the more and more of an impossible task it seemed to organize all these videos. Now it's no longer an impossible task, so I'm going to take some time and start hammering those out, and hopefully by the next time you see some StarCraft or Fallout videos coming out, those two will definitely be in playlists, and then other Let's Plays following after that, probably in chronological order from newest to oldest. So that's definitely happening. Another thing I've been doing is experimenting with new recording methods. I've been experimenting with new programs, new audio software to record videos with some pretty good results. Not great across the board, but I'm getting to something that I think is going to make my videos look better. They're going to sound better, and the quality overall will improve. Another thing I'm also doing is trying to cut up parts into more of a logical format. For example, I'm trying to make every part in StarCraft now its own mission. So every part is a mission, and so the whole thing is start to finish. It's not cut part way in between. And that's again just little tweaks to try and make things better and improve things overall. I'm also starting to experiment with other types of options. For example, I mentioned it briefly in my Fallout Let's Play that I'm going to start experimenting with live streaming over Steam, and if that's a success, to evolve into live streaming over Twitch. My goal here is to have it so people who want to interact with the actual gameplay footage have the opportunity to do that, and those who weren't able to catch the actual live stream or prefer to watch it on YouTube, I want that option to be available too. So I want these two facets to work together, not opposed to one another, and that's proving to be a task that requires a little bit of logistical foresight. So it's taking some time, I guess, to kind of figure this whole thing out. But it's definitely progressing along at a clip that I'm happy with. The next thing that I'm trying to do is I'm finally trying to set up a Steam curation page, something that has another thing that I've wanted to do for quite some time, and just really haven't had the time to sit around and explore it and set the groundwork down for something like that. So that's another thing that's going to be happening, and hoping to announce a new Steam curator page soon. And as well, last thing, I guess, in terms of big stuff happening to the channel is I want to start focusing on reviews as well as Let's Plays. And specifically, I'm looking at reviews for... I like to review or draw attention to less well-known games. to basically, tell people who may not know a lot about them, what they're about, and whether or not they're actually worth your time and money. So these are all things that are coming together in an effort to try and make this channel a little bit more fully featured and a little bit more fleshed out and modernized for a new era. Now, before I move on to the more personal part of this video log, I just want to tease something big that's coming in the future, in the very near future. I've had an idea for a project that I've been kicking around in my head for years now, something I've wanted to execute on for a long period of time, and I'm so excited to be at a point in my life where I can finally pull the trigger on it. And like I said, it's coming soon, probably in the next week or two. I'll hopefully have something available for public consumption. It combines a lot of things I'm interested in and a lot of things you guys are interested in. So I've got high hopes for this, and I can't wait to get it out there. But it will have its own, I guess, exclusive announcement that will be coming when it's ready to go. So just want to say, look forward to that. I'm not going to say a lot about it, but when it is ready, you guys will know. And I hope you'll be as excited for it as I am. But with that, I guess I want to leave the YouTube realm, and I want to talk a little bit about myself personally and my experience that I had at my job, and kind of give you guys some of the nitty-gritty details, because one of the things that I feel like I've been doing is withdrawing, and that's part of the reason why I think I was feeling so upset, is I felt like I was drawing away from the world. But now I want to get back. I want to get out there. I want to put myself back out into the world a little bit more, talk about things that have been going on, because most people have been in the dark as to exactly what's been going on. I haven't shared a lot of major events in my life. Like this happened back in May. Oops, can't even see it. But back in May, one of my favorite bands ever came to Vancouver, and I had the opportunity to see them. And that is a Slovenian avant-garde rock band called Laibach. And I know I've played some of their music in previous Let's Plays and stuff like that. And I never thought I'd get to see them in person. I never thought I'd get to see them live, because they almost never come to North America. But they came in May of this year. They came, they're promoting their new title. I bought this pin. That's what I brought from the show. I thought it was super cool, because it makes you look like you're like an official member of the Laibach party. And the whole concert was really, really, it was really something else. It wasn't like any other concert I'd been to, where it was more like a political rally. Like, the guys didn't say anything to the audience, and it was all about, like, posture and this kind of cold distance. And the reason they do that is because they're a parody band, and they're parodying things like totalitarianism and specifically fascism, and they use a lot of fascist iconography against them, essentially. So they're a very cool, interesting band, and that was something that I was happy that I had the opportunity to experience. Another thing is, I haven't really talked about Alberta or Edmonton or what living here has been like. And actually, I really love the city of Edmonton. The city of Edmonton has grown on me tremendously since I've had the time to be here. I've got to experience lots of cool things. The city of Edmonton is divided into a south half and a north half by a river that runs through it called the Fort Saskatchewan River. And my apartment is right on the river basin, so I can look out and you can see the river. And right now it's frozen because it's the middle of, it's the end of November, so now it's frozen and covered in snow. But in the summer you can look out and you can see the trees and everything like that. And it's quite a sight as well. We're right next to the Commonwealth Stadium, which is the big sports stadium here in Edmonton, where the Edmonton Eskimos, the CFL team, which are going to the Grey Cup, the CFL equivalent of the Super Bowl, this weekend, playing in Winnipeg, because the Grey Cup stadium is always chosen beforehand, and it's generally neutral ground, but sometimes the team ends up going to the Grey Cup. But anyway, so that's going to be a miserable experience for both the fans and the players. Having to play in the end of November in Winnipeg is not going to be fun. But they play at the stadium back here, and it's pretty cool because you can hear the games. You can We bought a pair of binoculars, my wife and I, so we could look out and actually watch the games and watch the stadium with our binoculars. And AC/DC also came through the area a couple months ago, and we got to sit in our porch and we could listen and we could hear the concert. We couldn't actually see them, unfortunately, because they were faced opposite. Like the stage was facing opposite towards us, so we couldn't see them, but we could certainly hear them, and we could certainly hear the fireworks that started before and after the show. So, all in all, I really like Edmonton, and I like the people I've met here. It's way more diverse than it ever gets credit for. I've met people not just all over Canada, but all over the world. They all come here. They're all looking for work. They're all looking to better their lives. But it's a pretty cool vibe here. So all in all, Edmonton's really grown on me since I moved here. The only thing that, of course, sucks is the horrific winters. And yesterday it was like negative 15. It warmed up today. That's Celsius, not Fahrenheit. But it warmed up today, so we're sitting around -1. But it's been an experience, that's for sure. My wife is now, she's almost, I guess, Canadianized. She's got her work permit. She's got her Canadian health care. She still can't leave the country yet because the way the system works is just totally bizarre, where if she leaves the country, she might not be granted re-entry by the Canadian Border Agency, and that would completely destroy our current immigration sponsor, our immigration paperwork that is going through the machinations or whatever it is that they do. We haven't heard anything since we got our work permit, so generally, though, hearing nothing is good because reaching out to us this early would mean that there's an issue and we need to put something in or take something out or whatever. But so that's going on. So she's found work here in Edmonton. She's got a good paying job, which is part of the reason why, or part of the reason that allowed me to quit mine, because now Jasmine's working and she's getting paid decently. So there isn't a huge amount of it's not we're not going to starve, we're not going to be destitute or anything like that. So the fact that we have one person working means we're getting by okay. With two people working, it means we're doing pretty good. So that's I guess kind of some of the personal situation that's been happening in the meantime. So now let me guys give you some honest heart-to-heart feedback about what it was like to be on the inside of the automotive industry. Because like it or not, cars are an important part of our lives. So knowing how that whole game is played will be beneficial to you, and it's in fact one of the most beneficial things I think I'll take away from this experience. But the car industry, man, it's got a whole lot of bad stuff into it, but there is definitely some good. The industry itself hasn't changed much, I think, in about 60 years. They're still using the same types of practices they have been using in the 1970s. And the attitude about the automotive industry, I think, is reflective of that fact. And that was one of the toughest things, I think, for me to deal with in that job, was just the way customers treated you. I mean, you can name yourself on the internet after a horrible, ruthless dictator, and you will get a fraction of the hatred you get from customers at a car dealership if you're a salesperson there. I was called the spawn of Satan. I think that was the worst thing I was called, but there's definitely a lot of people who just think you're like the lowest of the low. And that kind of stuff, it seeps into you. Like, there was a point where I was like looking at myself in the mirror, and I didn't like that person. I didn't like what they were doing, and that's a huge reason, again, why I had to get out of there. Another thing that's bad is the schedule. Holy crap, the schedule is awful. You have to give up your holidays. Holidays are gone. Weekends are gone, and you're lucky. You're lucky if you get one day off a week. Because you're going there for your minimum scheduled hours, is basically you're going to be seen as like a terrible employee and a terrible person because you are expected to stay late. You're expected to stay after hours, sorry. And I felt like I was living at the dealership, right? I was there like 50, 60 hours a week sometimes, and I felt like I couldn't do anything else in my life, that my whole life revolved around this thing that I just couldn't stand. And it was not a good place to be in, I think. And another thing that sucks is the fact that it's commission pay, right? There's no salary, so you can go there and you can put in, hours and hours of work, and sometimes you don't receive a heck of a lot back for that sacrifice. Another thing is the sales processes. I think are generally just about everyone I've ever talked to about sales, I think, has it wrong. I think we desperately need a whole restructuring in the way, not just we sell cars, but the way we sell everything in society. I just think is very, very old school. And like the process was like the sales process was what they call the law of large numbers, right? This is what a lot like, because there's a million different sales techniques, there's a million different sales processes out there, and I've read tons of them, and they all eventually run into the same pickle, which is they're not particularly effective. And the way they get around that is to say, well, make 100 calls with my system or whatever, and you'll make 2 sales. What a horrible waste of your life and your time to like sift. I don't have the emotional energy to sit there and like make 50 phone calls to get one, person who wants to talk to you. And that was a thing that I just like. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do phone calls. Like I tried to make a couple of them, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't talk to people on the phone like that. I couldn't harass them. And of course, you get a lot of disdain from certain people if you don't sit there and you don't do the calls and whatever. But it was just brutal in that regard. So you're giving up a lot of your time for not a lot of benefit or not a lot of return. And there's no question about it. It's a tough gig. But on the flip side, if you're good at it, you can make a shit ton of money. And you can make it quickly without any education whatsoever. So there are a lot of people there at the dealership that did extraordinarily well for themselves. They got paid more than doctors and lawyers. And just, they had houses and excellent cars, and, they wanted for nothing in their life. And the automotive industry gave them that. So there's no question about it that if you do well in there, you'll live comfortably. And that's something, I guess, that you can never take away. But let's talk about some of the good things. Some of the good things, number one, was the people I work with. Incredible, amazing people. The car industry has a tendency to draw in a lot of characters, I suppose. A high proportion of characters, I guess. People said I was a character, and I probably am. I don't feel like a character, but I know exactly I'm not your average Joe or what have you. But they always said that they wanted me, they wanted to film a sitcom at the dealership, and I would be one of the main characters because I was just such a quirky personality. But everybody there was great. You spend so much time around these people that you get to know them pretty well, and you get to learn a lot of cool things from them. I'll miss my nickname. My nickname there was Spence Diamonds because there's a store here called Spencer's Diamonds. And so someone just latched onto it, and so that was my nickname. It was Spence Diamonds, and then the follow-up afterwards was everything's coming up diamonds when you're Spence. So there's definitely little moments that I certainly miss. And even the managers, right? Even though they were hard on people because it's based on a system, right, where they don't get. It's based on like a system where they get paid like a fraction of every deal that is done, right? So they're forcing you to do stuff, they're breathing down your throat. But personally, all those guys are great guys. They're awesome people, and I don't know. I don't have any ill will against anybody there. I just didn't like the job itself. The job itself was not a good time, I'm gonna be thankful for the skills that it taught me while I was there. One skill of negotiation. I don't know why I have a lighter in my hand. Skill of negotiation. Now I fucking negotiate on everything. I negotiate on I bought a new cell phone. I negotiated on the prices of my cell phone and got it kicked down. It was a S6, and I got the price kicked down $250. I negotiated on the interest rate on my credit card. There's just so many things in this world that you don't know that you can negotiate on until you try. And that's another thing that the car industry taught me, is that sometimes when you try, when you ask people, amazing things will happen. Asking someone to hand over that amount of money, it's not an easy thing to do, and a lot of people can't do it. And having to be in a system where I consistently, had to ask people for such large sums of money, it made it easier for me to ask things for myself, I guess. So now that's definitely a benefit. Another benefit is that it's completely obliterated any qualms I had with talking to anybody, really. I used to be pretty socially awkward, and I still am fairly socially awkward, I guess. Going through high school and the beginning of university. But now I feel like I can approach anybody, talk to them. It taught me the fine art of schmoozing, I suppose. So these are definitely valuable skills to have going forward in your life and going forward in your career. And of course, teaching me how the game is played on the inside, how much room, dealerships have to negotiate, how they negotiate. It's definitely going to give me a leg up the next time, I decide to buy a car. And I think that's just about everything that I can pick off the top of my head. All in all, I know that it was not a job. It was definitely not meant for me. I'm definitely meant for something else out there. And the sooner I got out of that place, the better. So with that, I want to bring my random rambling video log to an end. I hope you guys are excited for the future as I am, and I hope you guys got a little bit of insight, I guess, into what exactly has been going on for the last 6 months or so, because it's been way more quiet than I would have liked. But with that, this is going to be Destinator signing off for now, and until next time, you guys take care.